This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is we don't have a secretary.
Oh, look who it is.
Just one minute. Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you.
Been a while. I'm going to be minutes for August 6th, rather than July.
All right. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from August 6th. The July 23rd was incorrect on this agenda. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, and I'll second
Oh,
it.
sorry.
See, we're out of, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We only have, move on to invoices. We only have 3 invoices this month, or this meeting. 2 of them are Colliers and one an old Langen that was lost in the sauce someplace.
Yeah, we didn't approve it prior. So I'll have a copy of this.
The first one was Colliers Strategic Building Solutions invoice 21917 for the amount of $489.44. This is for the period of July. Some discussion on this? Motion to accept?
I make a motion.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor? The second was for Colliers for August, invoice 22546 for $531 and, I'm sorry, $531.24.
I make a motion.
Your second?
I'll second.
Gary, just to, you said 531.24?
Yeah.
Right.
531.07.
On what?
Should be, yeah,
Down the very bottom.
On the form.
Should be 24. Should be 24 cents.
Yeah.
One that was passed
Oh.
just now.
Yeah, the invoice, if you look at the invoice, I just transposed the cents from the actual fee versus the bottom line, so 531.24.
So I make
17
a
cents.
motion.
Would be 17.
I was trying to get those extra pennies on it.
I'll take, I'll give you.
Take a quarter.
All right.
I made the motion, so you seconded it? Okay.
All in favor?
We're a little rusty, everyone will have to excuse us.
Well, ever since we lost our team, it's been difficult. And Langen, from November 14th, 2017, invoice LCT 0054204, I'm sorry, 201, for the amount of $806.25.
We're definitely sure it didn't get paid.
Yeah, I checked our records, Michelle, from what I have, I didn't have that invoice in there, so.
But what did they do, like re-present it for payment?
Yeah, they Barbie went through and reconciled with their statements, and it probably got lost in an email shuffle, frankly.
That's how they send them in?
Yeah, they typically send them to Ed's office, and then they'll send them to us.
Do they mail them to Ed's office and then email them to you? Is that how it goes?
They might, yeah, they probably mail them to his office and they email them to me. Sometimes they'll send multiple in like one file, so I could have missed it on my end, to be honest, so.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Discussion on it? All in favor? Opposed? Where are your invoices? Nothing from Bldg. Our Perkins Eastman, and we have some outstanding.
Well, so for the just one cleanup on for invoices, we had months back discussed the additional services for Perkins Eastman.
Right.
Because their construction administration services ran out. I think there was discussion on the item, but we never, I don't think there's a formal motion to increase the PO, increase our services for Construction Administration Services. In their contract, there was a lump sum value of approximately $14,000 a month, I think it was, in that range. And Perkins agreed to do it on an hourly basis per month, which has been far below what that was. And so they have some outstanding invoices that haven't been paid because Ed hasn't seen the approval to increase. The Director of Department of Finance hasn't increased their POs. They've been holding those POs. So we're hoping to get that PO increased so Perkins could get reimbursed for some past invoices.
So how much?
So we originally had talked about setting aside 4 months at 60,000. In our financials, we had set aside 60,000 as a placeholder for Perkins Eastman for additional services. I'm just bringing up to date. I think including this one, there'd be, bear with me, I'll bring it right up. I think there's, with this one, it'd be about 37,000 total that's been expended for the additional services. I'll bring up the exact amount here in a second.
So can you,
I can pass this out as well. This is our financial summary report, Dave. Oops, sorry.
you've been carrying it in yours?
Yeah, it's been carried over the last couple of months, actually. Yeah, I carried 60,000, including, if we include that one there, it would be approximately 36,500 out of 60,000, so there'd be about 23,000 remaining out of the 60 that we originally had earmarked for the ad services. At this point, I don't really foresee us using all that. But
Do you need something from us, Joe?
yeah, we would need an action just so that Ed could increase their PO to cover that.
Chuck, and this might be a little premature. We need some action on this project. It's kind of stalled and nothing is really happening that I'm aware of.
In what particular?
Well, in the finishing of the project, you know, there's a lot of things that are still outstanding in terms of things that have been talked about in terms of getting done. I know I can't speak for any other member of the committee, but I'm really not, I'm here today to hear about what's the, where's this project going and how are we going to close it out and finish it up? You know, I'm just, the idea of approving more monies or invoices or, what's going on with this project? Are we moving along here to closure or?
Yeah, so there's a couple different buckets here I think we need to keep in mind what the responsibilities are. I'm just passing out an open issues log. Last week, Carrie and I met kind of on some of the miscellaneous issues. I mean, a couple of them that seem to be, I think we're talking about, I think the perception of them is the gym HVAC systems. We talked about that, so there's been kind of a discussion on that. So the auxiliary gym HVAC was down, the compressor motor, gym condenser fan motor was replaced, and that's back up to 100%. That was down for a while. Currently, the main gym HVAC fan motor is being replaced. I know we had an update recently. Karen, I don't know if we have a newer one since last week, but that's being replaced as well under warranty.
If it hasn't already been, I have an email into MJ Daily. It was supposed to be either replaced at the end of last week or the beginning of this week.
My question on the small gym, was it a leak in the system or was it just not filled properly to begin with?
So it was a leak in the system. Because they made a repair to the system. In addition to that, I believe the condenser has also been replaced on auxiliary gym back at the beginning of the summer. So there's been kind of two different issues with the main gym and the auxiliary gym, both of which had to do with the condenser. And then the leak was fixed in the auxiliary gym. But they said that they had, I can send you the details of what they told me as far as the repair of the leak.
Yeah, I can see it. And also from a warranty perspective, since there's two pieces of equipment have not functioned properly from the beginning and have not been accepted, when does the warranty begin?
I can inquire,
Because frankly, we
With
didn't.
MJ
we didn't-
Daly,
We didn't
but-
accept them, they didn't work properly, they haven't worked properly. I would hate to have two pieces of equipment that are supposed to be brand new, haven't worked properly, and all of a sudden, they're not under warranty because they're a year installed or whatever it is. And
So
it's a fair
the-
question.
I believe they were fully commissioned, Phil?
If
They were started up, factory startup, and they were commissioned, so there has been warranty calls on them, I would agree with that. There's been issues with the gym units.
But even when they were commissioned, they weren't working correctly.
Well, I think
I
we
don't
need to
understand
research
how
that
to
with
get commission
BVH.
for
We
it.
gotta look at that with BVH, because I understand what you're saying with it not working correctly, but I think we need to look at the startup. It was commissioned correctly. If there's a warranty issue, we need to separate that from not working correctly from the beginning. And I'm not disputing what you're saying, Phil. I think we just need to really look and make sure, if it was in fact never working correctly, which I'd want to review that to see if in fact it wasn't and what constitutes that versus, hey, there was a warranty issue. And I
Understood.
understand, so,
Well, and there's not
Yeah.
a lot of things that are under, the only thing you really have for equipment inside that machine that is a warranty, is still under warranty, would be the compressors.
correct.
Which,
Everything else you only get a year on.
and the compressors have been replaced, or the main gym, if it hasn't been replaced as of the end of the
Supposedly
last
will be,
week,
right.
it'll be new and your warranty will be reestablished again on that.
Yeah, because I was up on the roof with them when they came to do the pressure test. And he said, well, your compressor's not working because it's disconnected. I said, it's disconnected because your company sent the company out to look at it, said the compressor wasn't working, disconnected it, so stage 2 would run, as opposed to looking for stage 1. Oh, nobody told me that. I said, well, I'm telling you why it was disconnected. I was up with the gentleman who disconnected it. So they never had like Ion, the company that owns the equipment or manufacturer, and themselves together. They were always, one came out the other, and they never talked to each other. Which is
And
why
I
it's
believe
been-
that's been corrected with MJ
Right.
Daly as of this point.
Which is why it's been ongoing for so long.
And I think also which one too, because there's obviously multiple, whether rooftop units, compression, there's multiple systems in here. And I think there have been issues addressed, whether it's repairs or leaks, whether it's auxiliary gym, main gym, and then I think we're talking about the music room too. So there's been different areas, so I think what we want to do is make sure we're documenting, exactly which areas
Absolutely.
what occurred. So I think it certainly warrants probably follow-up with MJ Daly, at least to ensure more, for your, Phil, what has occurred in each area.
I think we should have BVH
So we don't mix
come
up the
back out.
different,
Once the repairs are finalized, we should have BVH come back out and recommission those items, those units.
That would be a good thing.
okay. I'll reach out to BVH, but I think we had to schedule a meeting with, just a cleanup meeting with MJ Daly and talk about the different units, because it's easy to get the systems intermixed
Yeah,
for those.
understood.
Okay.
And I think not only BVH, but ABS for the control work, which probably might be affected by it. And I'm not sure about the balancing of it either.
This is all pertaining to the HVAC, right? So you sent us over the summer the survey results from the post completion there, and if you read through them, there were so many people. Now, mind you, it's a little bit, it was funny because they used to die in there because it was so hot, but there were so many people that complained of being frozen, like talking about scarves and gloves and things. So how, I mean, it struck me because, I mean, no, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Everybody was hot before. But could there be such vast
No.
sways where, I mean, is it just people who are prone to cold?
Peepers comfort level.
I couldn't
That's what I
believe
learned. I mean,
Yeah.
how many of them that there were, though. That's why I mentioned it, because there was quite a few
If
that
you go in and
mentioned
check
it.
on those complaints and you see the variation in the scope of the thermostats, rarely is it under 68 degrees, 69 degrees, 70 degrees, and never would you see it over maybe 74, 75. They have the ability to adjust
But only within certain parameters.
within certain parameters.
Right, because you don't want someone lowering it too low.
Exactly.
But is there, if someone is too cold,
They can,
which is,
they can raise it.
right, but they can only raise it to a certain degree
Correct.
as well, correct? So, I mean, I
mean,
just thought it was worth mentioning because
Yeah,
there were so many of them.
74 is a very good comfort level for being warm. And if you need to be, and if you're a hot person, 68 is also very.
I just thought it was worth mentioning because you're talking about controls.
Listen, I didn't need that survey to hear that.
honestly, Michelle, we get,
Phil and I hear that all the time.
yeah, I'll get an email and then 4 hours later, they'll say, you know, thank you for whatever you did. It's
Oh, you didn't
perfect
do
now, and I didn't do
anything.
anything.
You're like, you're welcome.
See, they also have to remember we have setbacks in the morning. So the system goes into a night mode.
Right, so it
and
takes time to catch up.
Takes time to catch up.
But I think the majority of them that I read, they weren't hot, they were cold.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it is. It's cool.
yeah, so that's, and I mean, again, if there's the ability there for them to make it warmer in their room, which is then thereby gonna use less AC, right? Wouldn't that be cheaper? So do we give them, is there a way to allow them to, the ones that are cold, to
They
increase?
all- Yeah, they can do it themselves.
Right, but only to, up to a certain,
They're
Level,
not, no one's
right?
going over 74 degrees in a room.
so 70, so they can only jack it up as high as 74.
Which is pretty warm.
Maybe it depends upon where you are as far as where you get, you know, how much sun you get, I mean, because that
It
heats up
does,
a room
yeah, that
too.
But that is also controlled.
That'd be, the cooling system would kick in if it got too hot, so.
No, I'm talking about the
Yeah.
people that are cold. So if you're in an area that doesn't get full sun exposure or whatever, you're never gonna get as warm as the rooms that are facing, you know, or have more sunlight in them.
It's not
No,
really
it's,
true.
it's,
Right?
it's balanced out,
It's all
Michelle,
balanced.
because all that's taken into account with the thermostat that's in the room. We also have the radiant panels at the side at the windows. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, this isn't a problem that has been solved for humans. Like ASHRAE 90.3, which is the standard by which you judge, you know, the comfort of the space or whatever, winds up being saying if 60% of the people are comfortable, then you've done a really good job. So you're right to bring it up, but it's also very different.
I mean, I don't like to be hot. But the ones that are freezing cold, I can't even like imagine the room being so cold that, you know, that you're writing about it. And there was many of them throughout those responses. So
And this
I
is,
thought it was worth
we
it.
see this often, it's not just this project, we see it often in pretty much every project, because in so many of the projects, you're coming from an unconditioned space that was never air conditioned to a well-conditioned space, a brand-new space. So there is a part of getting used to it too, but you never want to dismiss those because of that reason either, because sometimes there are, in fact, times where it is too cold or too hot.
And mostly every time we see the issue, it's maybe because you didn't know how to adjust the thermostat. So basically, my staff knows how to do it. Are they pleased 100%? No, because they want more heat. But we're not changing the balance in every room.
Right, gotcha. Okay, I just thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are just touching on a couple of the HVAC. We have this list, I just added to that list, Phil, so we can get that. The roof trains, those are all done with exception of some painting. They're gonna bring the painters back in. We're gonna be planning for, I think, Columbus Day, shooting for that, to come in and just paint above the stage.
Yeah.
For that. And there is a gutter warranty issue.
Yes, and Greenwood has been placed on notice, Phil. We've notified them back when it
Alex,
first occurred.
yeah.
And I've reestablished, so they have a certain timeline to respond, I think, at
Yeah,
the end
I
of the
also-
day
I
tomorrow.
also have a couple leaks, small leaks here and there that I have to get them back for also.
Okay,
But
Is
I
this
know-
with the pulled away from the building gutter, or is that different?
They fixed one area, which was on the far north side of the classrooms. This is on the north side of the gym that started to separate.
When you say leaks, you're talking gutter leaks.
A couple of small roof leaks.
Well, I think, Phil, have you gone through the warranty claim
Well,
process
that's
for
what
the
we're.
roof?
Yeah,
Okay.
Because the
I mean,
roof is
with
under
this-
warranty
With
now.
this rain that we
Yeah.
had last week.
They exposed
Yeah,
a couple areas. I just want to make sure so that
Mhm.
the roofing manufacturer has that on record.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's the bet from here going out, which you've done that before. Okay, good.
Where
Did
do we
you,
have
did you
leaks?
already notify the
Not yet,
warranty?
no,
Okay.
that was one of my to-do list today.
Where are the leaks, Phil? Where?
One is in the gym storage room.
Yeah.
Gym storage room, and there was one more, I forget where it is. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay. The key thing is, just for everybody's purposes, we have, 20, 30-year warranty, I'm not sure which one it is, but key thing is going through the manufacturer, making the claim, they have the claim on file, they'll have it for record, then they'll send Greenwood out to do it, but then that way it's paid through them, we don't have to worry about doing it with Greenwood, so. So is that the center railings? I know we've been going back and forth with getting the center railings for the 3 stairwells, getting details and pricing for that. I don't know if the steel, the miss metals.
So I did get a note confirming from Shepherd Steel that you had spoken to them, Joe, and that they are working on a price for that scope of work. That scope is probably going to need to be done over winter break. It's just not, it's a little invasive to the school operation, so we're gonna wanna do that over winter break.
So you said there's 3 stairwell sets going in? Where's the?
There's one in the center by I think the art rooms. There's the stairwell, like kind of in the center of the building, that center portion, so the 2 ends in
Okay,
the
the
center.
back side, okay.
Yeah, by the driveway.
North side and then the east and west side.
What type of price are we thinking about with that?
I haven't seen any details. Joe has been contacting Shepherd Steel to work out the details of what's required, so I really don't know what's currently being designed.
I'd imagine it's being an elaborate hand, just basic handrail,
Yeah,
right?
it's
center
pretty
rail
basic, it doesn't
type
need a
rail.
guardrail, doesn't need anything else
It's
like
just something
that.
for them to hold on to.
It's gonna be anchored actually through the concrete cans down below. But again, we know it's,
I don't know, it sounds sarcastic, but that's the same information we had at our last meeting.
well, they're in the process of pricing it, so I talked out more of the details of how it's gonna be anchored, of the diameter of that, I can get that to you if you want.
We're just looking for cost and time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Shepherd's hands right now.
Yeah, for those 3, I mean,
That's the same information we had at the last.
No,
meeting.
for those center handrails, I'm gonna put in here 20,000, I'm hoping it's below that, but I would guess maybe 15 to 20,000 for those 3. Just as a placeholder.
And we don't have to get prices from others, the only price that we have to get from is one, Shepherd.
Would be a change order to that, they did the original, so doing a change order, that's who we'd get it through, unless we wanted to, it is a code-related issue with the project, so if this was a betterment that the town or your committee requested, we could do that separately, but yeah.
And you anticipate this being done in the end of December?
Yeah, well, school's out for Christmas, 2 years.
So there's that, the auditorium egress lighting issue, primary electric.
They supposedly receiving the actual lighting this week. They've done all the piping in the school back to the panels. They installed the exit signs on the backstage. They've also piped for the exterior lighting on the gym, which should, those heads should be on this week also.
What was the cost that we had approved for that?
It was 24,000.
So this 10, 15, 18 due date, is that the completion date?
I put that as a target date. I haven't talked to this first, I've talked to Phil on it. We knew it was coming in, so.
The lighting that was ordered or picked is a special order item. It's made individually. It's not a stock item. Of course, it's not on the shelf, so they have to manufacture it. So they were given a 4 to 6 week lead time, and I think they're into 8 weeks now. that they still don't have it.
So this week they're expecting it.
That's what Dave told me.
I'll leave 10, I
That's
just
what
want to
Dave
keep
told
that
me
as a
last
target
week.
date. So is that the gym floor replacement, we're gonna get into that in a minute. I know Kerry's got some costs on that, so I'll wait on that for a minute. State change orders, I do have a letter here drafted. It's just basically a formal letter. It's a draft for Dr. Cronin's, you guys, I just have to email it over, I mean, email it to you, Kerry. Essentially, it's just a formal notification to the state saying, you know, we have 7 state change orders, we received response on 2. So there's 5 outstanding, and in the past, we have emailed the office. I've spoken with them, I'll be up there today, I'm gonna inquire on them again today when I'm up there this afternoon, as to the status, because until they give us their formal response, which determines the amount of ineligible costs, we can't close out, because they require us to have those numbers. So those files are in another building. They moved in the process during this project. They moved from their old building to the new, and they don't have all their files. So this will hopefully kickstart them into that and get that process moving. Last time we did a letter, they responded pretty quickly. So.
Superintendent's name spelled wrong, though. I don't know how quick they're
I
going.
apologize for that.
They'll be like, he didn't write this.
No, drafted that today, so. So we'll send that up and I'll inquire with them. WB Mason, they have some change orders out there, probably in the $20,000 to $35,000 range that are still outstanding. I spoke with the person who's in charge of their furniture. His proposal was to submit a final invoice for the outstanding amount in the PO. I advised them that it first got to go through Gilbane for them to review. But I said most likely it won't fly with the billing committee because you have to have an invoice for actual items that are delivered. We have to confirm that those are all delivered. I think they all have, but it's a matter of them going through their invoicing system. They had a big problem. You couldn't understand the concept of you need an invoice for each of the items. I sent them a full reconciliation from our financials of what we've paid, what we haven't paid, all the invoices, all the approved invoices, Gilbane stamp on them, our stamps on them. So they have all the invoices that have been approved. They said you need to reconcile on your side and understand what you have an invoice. And it appears that they've had chronic problems with their invoicing for furniture. So this is your issue to resolve. You need to put it together and work with Carrie's team. And
So how do they know we owe them money if so they're showing in their system that there is money to be paid by us and we say we paid every invoice that you presented? Is that the?
Yeah, so what we do is I reach out to vendors. When there's an outstanding PO at this point, I reach out to say, listen, we have, if it's a couple $100, typically it's a invoicing of their unit price issue. I'm not overly concerned, but when I'm showing $22,000 on a PO, the last thing we want to do is close it out and then they come back and send us an invoice and it's closed out or the project's closed out. So I reach out to the vendors and say, listen, this is what I have for my records. You need to reconcile with your records and confirm, have you been paid for these, not paid? Or are there invoices that we don't have listed that may have been submitted, because that very well could have been, that haven't been reviewed. They seem to have an issue with that well, I'm like, you should have a total record of all your invoices. What's paid, not paid, if you're doing, standard practices, I think it'd be pretty easy to do.
It's my understanding they had a restructuring of their furniture department or whatever, and they have someone new in the lead or just taking over. I don't know if that's who you spoke to.
Yeah, Frank
Yeah.
Vialli,
It was Frank.
he's their director, and I've had multiple discussions with Mason on multiple projects regarding invoicing. We've had issues with it in the past where,
Yeah, he told me that.
and they've been trying, but a company of that size should have an excellent accounting system for this. They should really go, here's all our invoices per PO, this is what's outstanding, what's been paid or not paid. any successful business will have that, I would think. So we're trying to help him. I'm trying to help him. He wanted to submit this final one for the PI. I said, listen, you can submit it, and even if Gilbane approves it, I don't think the committee, which I don't think Gilbane would, but the building committee won't. I said, you're gonna waste your time, you're gonna be complaining that you're not getting paid, and I explained it about 3 times to this person, and so you can submit it and.
That shouldn't be hard to understand. We
Well, that's our
paid
struggle.
everything that you gave us, so now show us what invoice that we didn't pay. Like, how hard is that?
Well, that was my question to them, is like, I'm giving you all the information, I gave them all the stamped, I gave them a link with all the invoices that Carrie's team signed off on, if there's anything that wasn't paid for, I mean, every
I mean, it
single.
could be something as simple as an invoice that we paid, but they misdirected towards another account or something. Like our $22,000 that we paid on an invoice could have gone to someone else's.
Yeah, it's not up for us to reconcile their books, and if they don't have
I
it.
agree. Hopefully, we don't owe them $22,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's according to our system, what we've approved, and we still have to reconcile with the finance department, but for the most part, we've been pretty on par with the finance department with what we've shown.
And
so.
we probably do own the money, they just,
probably owe it to
they
them,
just can't figure it out.
They just can't. Tell us what we do.
But at some point, we close it out, or
Well, I prefer that they invoice it, because what ends up happening is the finance department ends up dealing with it later on, and it's messy. If they deliver it and the product's there, which I'm pretty sure probably is, then we should pay them. It just, they have to, it's all about the audit. If they audit that, the state's gonna go, we're not paying you on that because you don't show it being received, and, there's, $20,000, $30,000 of,
Well, that's the thing, we had someone doing all the receiving for us.
Yeah, Gilbane was taking care
Right,
of
so
it.
you have a list of everything that was received, which we should be able to put up against what was paid or not paid, correct?
Well, WB Mason should have a sign-off sheet. They say, this is when it was delivered, this is the product, here's the PO number. They should have a full accounting of all this and go, if you in fact invoice for 100%, you should be able to say, these are outstanding. It should be simple as, here's the outstanding invoices.
Right.
I don't think they invoice for it, frankly.
I got you.
I think they have to go through and do work and create that invoice and find out.
Well,
what
I'm
was
just
delivered.
saying, I wanna make sure we got everything that we're owed. So by you guys doing doing the, checking everything, we know that we have everything.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what's important.
100%. First, if we receive it, okay, then we'll pay it.
Right.
But this is an issue we've had in the past on other projects as well, so. So I just want to make sure, we're trying to be proactive with them, so they stay on it. Vestibule repairs, I'm going to be reaching out to a contractor to install a couple vents in the main vestibule and get those finally repaired. I think Carrie's released the paint, we're going to repair the sprinkler
Yeah,
in
the
there.
two are not contingent on each other.
Yeah, 2 separate issues, but we're gonna reach out to a contractor as well as the stage too. I reached out to them again, the G Donovan was hoping they might be able to fit time in to do the stage flooring at the same time, hopefully, so I'm hoping they loosened up after the summer for that. Speaking of G Donovan, they did complete all the shelves, and I think they came back and they had to add some more in one of
Right.
the.
They missed one of the rooms, correct, Phil?
Say that again?
We missed the Donovan, they missed one of the rooms for the science.
Yeah, they were supposed to be, I think
So
that got done.
they came back and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
completed that, so that's all
But
done.
they did miss one.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Did you say the vestibule repairs are going to be done by the end of the month?
I'm shooting for the end of the month, or at least have pricing for the end of the month. I'm using this as a target to ball in our court to get this done. When we met last week with Gary and Carrie, we wanted to have this list and have some dates assigned so that we close this out, kind of
What's
like
the
what dates.
status of the sprinkler though in that vestibule?
That's the same, we just.
That's gonna be an
That's the
Gilbane.
same, but it's still not-
It's in the same, correct, it's not repaired. I think Carrie mentioned that the work wasn't, you guys are releasing payment for the tie-up, the work for when the leak sprung. And they're gonna release them to go ahead and,
So ultimately, do we have who's paying for the repairs?
right now, it's due to freezing, so it would be out of the owner's contingency because it's still an issue that we want to investigate. The cold weather's coming up. I was having a tough time. I have a guy we were gonna do some thermal image scanning to see if there's some air leaks coming through.
I thought you did all that already. This is
We tried-
December of 17.
We were gonna do that,
Didn't get it.
Joe, and I honestly, I couldn't get one of our guys released to get out here and do it. Frank, they were tied up and I couldn't get them out here in time to do that thermal scan.
And that also includes the stage floor.
The stage is separate, I'm just trying to, if they do that, I'm trying to
Like
see
make it
whether
worth
they're out
their
here.
while to do a couple of projects at the same time.
Yeah, I figure while they're out here, if we can have them do both, that would be.
But you gotta wait for the weather to turn, no?
Well, the repairs, we want to get the repairs done. We talked in that vestibule of putting in a couple of louvers just to allow some passive heating to get up into that space. However, the temperatures that were above that ceiling, in my opinion, there's still something happening there to get that cold. It shouldn't get that cold inside that vestibule. I mean, it was 50, I think it was 15 degrees we measured above that ceiling.
And we do have to remember the outside temperatures were
They were very, very
at
cold.
0 for quite
They were, but
quite a few days.
But it should
You've got
still-
almost a
It's
foot
still-
worth of insulation on the roof on top of it though, so like.
But is there
it just
heat
doesn't-
in that vestibule?
Yeah.
There is.
There's a unit
So how
heater
could
that
it get
comes
to be
down.
15 degrees if there's heat in the vestibule?
Well,
How
and
would
what's
it ever get that cold?
more interesting
It's
is
above
we
the
took the
ceiling.
differential
Ceiling.
between the temperature in the vestibule and then above the vestibule, above the ceiling in the vestibule, and it was a huge difference, huge delta between the two.
gotta
So,
Well, what amazes me is that the unit that's in the ceiling didn't freeze,
yeah,
but the sprinkler did.
The sprinkler,
Supposedly.
the sprinkler did, it's stagnant water, it's sitting there, but above the ceiling, it's a hard gypsum board ceiling that it's not gonna transfer that much heat through.
No.
It's just,
No.
it's gypsum board.
No,
Well,
and we have a
I
lot of heat
disagree.
sitting up there.
I do disagree. The gypsum board is basically opaque to most heat.
No, there's definitely some insulation factor in that sheetrock.
There's some, it just, given the temperatures that timeframe, and I think it just, that's why I think there's another source somewhere, I'm not sure what it is, I
What
really
about
don't.
air infiltration? 'Cause that's a
Well, that's what I'm
That's what
concerned about, Lou.
Yeah.
is-
Air's getting
Is
into
there's,
it.
it's somewhere that,
That's where the
it's so
lasers
cold,
scan.
and that's where we wanna
The
do
thermal
the
scan.
thermal.
And you and I are on the same page, we just
Well,
think
see if
making
they
use of
do
that
have
heat that is sitting at
Lou, do you
that
have one of
ceiling.
these machines? No?
Yeah.
Just-
Okay.
Just makes sense.
There's some that's getting through there, I don't necessarily disagree, with you. I just don't think enough's gonna get up there for a gypsum board. I think it's,
I agree.
Look, the R value for a gypsum board for 5/8 of an inch is half an R value. So there's not gonna be a significant
What do you
barrier
mean
to
half the
heat.
other value? I don't follow that, I'm sorry.
Well, so you know how we do R13 in walls and stuff like that? The R value of that gypsum board is 0.5 or 0.5. So
So the
there's
R
not a
value-
block to
There's no
heat,
R
is what I'm
value.
saying.
So there's no R value in the gypsum.
Correct, correct. So what I'm saying is it's not gonna be sufficient just to put louvers in there, because for all intents and purposes, the gypsum board is allowing heat to pass up there.
Understood. However, we are gonna get some benefit out of it, because you just have heat sitting at the top.
It's fine, but it's not gonna, if it got 15 degrees in there, a couple of louvers is not gonna make it better.
You have to penetrate the gypsum board. And that's not.
But we don't know the cause of we don't know why that space was at 15 degrees.
No, when we went up on the ladder shortly thereafter, I put my hand up there and you could actually feel air moving and it was super cold. So my guess is there's some kind of a break in the insulation.
I know we looked at details as well, I know we talked to Alex, you
We
know.
looked at as-built, the insulation that was designed was properly done on the canopy. So the section that we should look at is the media center, if it's coming in somehow above the plenum in the media center.
And do you need cold temperatures in order to do that?
You need a, yeah,
Well,
you
you need a differential
delta
between the
between
two.
inside and outside is what'll show up on the thermal camera, otherwise it'll just kind of all be the same.
Check the music room, because it's pretty cold in there.
Everybody's happy.
All those instruments.
Yeah.
We're gonna put in another window.
Yeah,
It's more
another
sun.
door.
It's more
Free
sun.
This is deep stone.
Appreciate all your help.
You're still in home, Joe, right?
Joe has been much
For,
happier.
for like 2017.
Yeah.
Where's that going?
Well, there's a space there.
Oh, where the front, where
Yeah, we just
the,
haven't-
where you
we
buzz
We just have it
it.
on a, just want to make sure we follow up to get that.
So we pay for that already?
No.
The date stone.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
That's what I said.
The cornerstone.
The cornerstone, the year that the school was rebuilt.
Piece of foam is still on the wall when you walk in the front door.
Okay.
Yeah. TBD.
Why don't you put like 2020?
Keep changing the date.
I don't know which of these areas is a good spot to mention these issues. Do you want me to wait with the?
Yeah, I just want to say, I take full responsibility for this dragging on a bit more longer than it should, but I need, I asked
No,
Chuck,
that's on us, yeah.
I asked Chuck to, if he's not able to do it, to have somebody else in his office kind of shepherd these issues through, because we do need some guidance and direction in getting these things closed out. Because we still have a major item that that needs to be addressed, and that's the gym floor, of course. We've got some pricing that Bldg has done, and you have those? This is, these are estimates based on current projects around the state.
Is this all floors, all the gym floors?
So I broke it out based on gym floor and Aug's gym so that you could see the price for the two different areas. So we've recently bid, similar gym floors at Gym Wood Athletic floors. Interestingly, since we priced the original floor here, or bid the original floor here, because we had originally bid the floor to be removed and replaced. The pricing per square foot really hasn't changed, so that it hasn't escalated in the past few years. I did put an escalation line item in here only because there's still some time that would go by between today and putting it in, and so we have a couple different sides or scopes as part of this work. We need to remove the existing floor. We need to reinstall it, reset the volleyball sleeves. There's some protection that needs to happen just because there's going to be sanding and finishing as part of that scope. So you don't want that out in the rest of your school. So we'd have to poly all doors and protect your HVAC units in there. So the scope of work would approximately take, typically we calculate like 4 weeks for a gym floor replacement. So this is something that needs to be done over the summertime and not during the school year. It's pretty invasive. This does not include the removal of the bleachers. So oftentimes when we're replacing floors and there's a good set of bleachers, they'll cut in like an isolation strip, and the old floor will remain underneath the bleacher area, which the likelihood of you replacing your bleachers before your next gym floor is pretty slim.
Carrie, what was the cost of the redoing, of what we did to the floors? What did we pay for the work that we originally did?
I'll look that up.
Carrie, you're talking about when the bleachers are retracted.
Yes, we would pull them back and then we would cut around and put an isolation strip around there. So if you had your bleachers fully folded, you wouldn't, if you got down on your hands and knees and looked underneath them, you'd be able to see that there's the old gym floor underneath them. But it's done quite often that way, just because to remove a brand new set of bleachers to get new gym floor underneath them is kind
Not
of
worth it.
The
not
one
worth
thing
it.
I'm concerned about that with Carrie is I'm just not sure whether the depth of the new system that we'd be putting in would be similar to the old one. So that's something we would have to work out.
Yeah, there is.
Adjusters.
We just have to make sure that we have the clearance. It would be probably, it'd be
Yeah,
minuscule.
I'm just not sure without looking at it that we could promise that that'd be workable.
I just don't remember any ballpark. Do we know what we paid?
Yeah, I'm looking that up for you.
I don't remember what it was.
For refinishing.
Yeah, for what we did to the
I think it was
roof.
130, I believe.
I believe that was the original value.
Yeah, because keep in mind, I think that might have been the give back for doing the
Was
floors
130.
versus the, yeah.
She couldn't come this morning. She goes, find out. Yeah, you're gonna hear, I told
We
you.
saved 130, you think?
Well, she's entitled to say that.
I know.
Is the floor condition the same in the auxiliary gym as it is in the main gym? They both have
Very,
cracks
very
and...
similar. They just they contracted, so as you walk across the baseline,
We are getting some actual closing.
probably.
High moisture season.
Do we think maybe the new
Completely, but
floor might
it is moving.
dissipate the smell in there? Because people are still all complaining about the smell in there. You said you pulled out the
I
pads,
honestly don't know what
right?
they're smelling. I have not.
Again,
I don't-
it's like a constant source of parents saying they refuse to let the kids' bags and clothes and things in the house because it
They've only been there
stinks.
for one basketball game, and it's, 6 o'clock in the evening, and they see them, and they smell like the gym in the middle school. So there's something there. There's something going on there.
That's what people are complaining about. You can't get that smell off your clothes. And Mike, I mean, you've said it.
The question I would have is, the main gym is used for other community activities, right, Mike?
Both
Youth-
are.
Youth basketball.
Yeah, and they have school functions in there too as
Is the auxiliary gym used for anything else other than gym class?
They play basketball in there.
Yeah.
No.
They
After
practice,
hours?
they practice in there.
After hours.
So we would
The
do summer.
kids,
Yeah.
but the community activities,
Yeah, but what about the summer? So if we do this in the summer, are we gonna be putting out like a league or is there any?
Summer
no?
doesn't use it.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to isolate the two gyms so that, if we need to
Do one.
do one or the other, not the other, but if we just do the main gym, what's the impact of leaving the aux the way it is?
As long as it's not dangerous, it's fine. Kids practice on it through basketball season. I think they use it for gym class.
There's no danger to it.
No.
It's what it looks like.
But will it
The quality of
continue?
the play though,
Right,
it's
will
not
it
just the
continue to
appearance, it's there are dead spots and.
expand? Could it continue to expand? Could these deficits become larger over time or is?
Oh, I think you've probably seen the maximum contraction of the boards with the new HVAC system. Now, the shoulder season, it sounds like it's expanding a little bit. I'd be surprised if it comes all the way back.
Now, it's actually moving closer now.
Together.
Together.
It's
It's
spread out,
not
so it's-
totally, but.
It should always be moving.
Right.
Are we ready
All right.
are we ready to decide on these?
No.
Okay. This is-
So, Michelle, to answer your question on how much the cost was to
Yeah.
refinish them, it was $142,411 to refinish them. There were some change orders
But rough, I just
for
wanted to-
selective replacement of certain areas, as they got into it. But that was, the bid scope was,
We were trying to save 2/3 of the money, but
And that was for both?
unfortunately,
Both gyms.
that was for both gyms. That was to refinish both gyms.
that's a big one.
My concern on this is, that we totally renovated this building, built a huge new addition, and we might be leaving a substandard gym floor there for the next 30 years. That, it's not a good legacy for this committee to have. On the other hand, it's up to the committee to decide whether or not we need to spend this money on the floor. So I think there are a lot of factors involved in this. It's not my decision, it's everybody's decision as a committee, how we want to move forward on this. I think that, there's valid sides to this. It's a middle school floor, it's not used for competition. I don't know, I'm open to all suggestions on this one because this is a really difficult one, it's a lot of money.
Here it is used. middle school has a basketball team, right?
They have,
And they have home games.
oh, they do?
and
Okay,
utilize
all right, I
them.
understand correctly on that.
So what if how much, I mean, if we decide to go forward with this, do we have the money to do this?
That's,
So what we're showing, I sent out a financial summary report, it's in there. Print out there, I just adjusted for Joe's, but roughly $250,000. Yeah, so 276, I did add an exposure while we're here in this meeting.
I don't have enough money to do all of these anyway.
And included in it, so included with this, Gary, in the contingency log, I'm holding to replace both gym floors at 300,000.
Would be 200.
I'm holding.
It's already in here?
It's accounted for that in that number.
And that's,
And there's 276.
and that's still our remaining balance?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
'cause I'm,
How
yeah,
much,
I'm
how much are you carrying?
$300,000 in our
Okay.
contingency
Okay,
exposure.
that's
So
better.
that's the whole reason for the log.
Okay.
We put that exposure in.
Where does it show up?
That's better.
So Joe, that would be in this, that's just a summary sheet, where that would, it doesn't say it specifically, but on the second page, you'll see contingency here, and you'll see an item that says owner's project towards the bottom on the second sheet.
Under view.
It'll say VA2, owner's project. And if you go into column E,
Yes, thank you.
you'll see 360.5.
Yes.
That's where that number is. That looks at the spreadsheet for our contingency items.
So that's 360,000.
That's for all pending issues that we've been carrying. There's not a whole lot
All
at.
right, that makes me
Auditorium
feel a little
lighting
better.
for egress, that's carried with primary electric. I have 15,000 for there. Replace both gym floors, I have 300,000. And then a couple I just put in here recently, just center hand railings. But I was carrying 300,000 for the gym floors.
All right, that's better. Better news.
So that's accounted for. It's kind of the worst case.
look, what I'd like to do, Phil,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
if we could meet and look at that gym floor.
Sure.
I don't know what the best time would be for that, after 2 or 2:30.
Whatever.
Yeah,
We can walk through anytime.
Um,
For you guys.
If we could meet as a committee over there, just take a look at it. You know, that's, we can't really tell from this room how the actual condition of it.
As a group, I
I prefer as a group.
I would too.
What's a good time for,
Like I said, even if you came during the day, that'd be fine. If it's more convenient after school,
yeah,
first thing in the morning, you can do before you guys go to work.
early
Yeah.
AM.
okay. What's good? What day?
Oh, what time you wanna wake up?
I can be there at 6.
I can do any time, so,
That was just a suggestion.
Mike? Do you have
Any day.
Are we available today after 2? Is that what you were recommending?
anytime? I'm.
I could do today.
We have a
Today after 2 o'clock?
We have a 2 o'clock today. Right? Are you in on that today, Manacor?
No.
No?
I cannot make that.
I'm not available. I have a faculty meeting, but
Okay.
I don't need to be there.
Mike, you okay with that?
Another day, maybe next Monday? That's Columbus Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we keep it 7:30 one morning or 8 o'clock, what's the bad time? 7:30 is bad time.
That's fine.
Wait,
Okay.
Kids are all in class.
oh yeah, I was gonna say, wait.
By
what's the bus
7:30, they're in the
situation?
rooms, I do announcements, and then we can go.
Okay.
So what day?
Wednesday?
Tomorrow morning?
Wait, I have to, I have to
Oh,
post it.
Wednesday
Oh, you got-
morning?
So Wednesday?
Wednesday morning? What time?
7:45.
After all the buses and everything are out.
Can't drop it in reverse.
Yeah.
I can't make this Wednesday, but.
No, I thought they said 7:45.
Say 7:45, you guys will get stuck in the
Yeah.
line at 7:30.
Michelle, I just did want to address one of your questions, which was about the smell. I just want to caution everybody that there may be, if there's a smell, there might be multiple sources in it. It might not be the floor, could be the walls, which are existing to remain, could be the technical ceiling, which is existing to remain. There are a lot of sources potentially for that smell. So I want to caution everybody that fixing the floor may not.
So it
address
was
the
not
smell.
down to the studs in that room? It was not put down to the
Well, we
studs?
left the original masonry
Block
walls
Block
there.
walls.
Yeah,
But that was all sealed, it's all, everything, all the
It-
services are sealed.
it was sealed and, you know, I mean,
We
I'm
did the
mystified as
detective
to the source of it, but I'm just suggesting that since we don't know where it's
Yeah,
coming
I know, it's
from, this may not be a fixture.
And what's old? You said something in the ceiling?
The
Detective,
tectum ceiling is old.
I
But there
can't
was-
describe it, it's kind of a musty, dusty smell, and it's not all the time, but there are days where my jacket or my,
Come out a little.
yeah, basketball, everything kind of smells, the car smells on the way home. And if we redo the floors and we're gonna redo the striping, is it possible to move those baskets back to make it a larger half court?
That's what I was suggesting. I mean, the only additional cost to that would be to actually moving
We don't really have any.
those two side baskets.
That would make it that much more useful for the practice sessions where we have 3 half courts, full half courts as opposed to,
I can add that to the estimate.
Yeah.
but.
It would be a
as long
totally,
as
it
we're
would be a
doing it
completely
within
different
the-
trade contractor, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
But before we
introducing
stripe
another.
again, it might be good to have a longer half court.
You're gonna be our consultant on that. Gonna put the baskets in the right place, the striping.
I do not, haven't heard.
All right.
So I've upped the contingency amount that I told you I've upped that to 330 to cover what Carrie's given us today, just so everybody knows, and just an additional 30, so.
So we'll meet together on Wednesday so we can look at it and see what the situation is. The last time I saw it, it wasn't pretty, but that was a while ago.
And you obviously have taken pictures of the expansion and the
Oh,
contraction.
yeah, and it was pretty uniform, I saw it was pretty uniform all the way across. I mean, it's consistent all the way across the floor. It's not like it's in one area or not, it's
I believe we've had it reviewed by a third party
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
Did they measure
Yeah.
the gaps at the
Yeah,
time?
they have.
It'd be interesting to remeasure to see what the range is of its movement.
The bigger problem was they weren't moving or shrinking individually.
Yeah,
Because
The problem
the
is that
urethane-
They were going
like
together.
this,
Well, the
so you add up-
urethane grouped
Adds
some
all.
together.
Yep.
So what happened was that some of the spaces got bigger because some of them were.
Shifted.
8 or 9 boards shrinking together versus one board at
Exactly.
back, yeah.
So just to, line stripping is not included in this? correct?
Yes, no, it would be.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, typical line striping and logo work.
Right.
So the same
If I
thing
recall
There's
correctly-
nothing typical in our gym, there's pickle floors and all kinds of stuff.
Everybody has this. No, I included line striping in there.
Pickleback, whatever that is.
I mean, if you needed like a, you know, artist hand-painted logo in the center that's 15 different colors, that may not be included, but for standard, I think you guys just have the N and H in
Just
the
the
center. Yeah, and it's just one.
All right, okay. So as far as, in addition to the gym floor, we would have to have some design work done to replace the floor, and Perkins has submitted a proposal for $10,450 for the design and bid documents, construction documents, et cetera, which if we were to go forward, we would need to approve and let them go forward with their design plans.
Would we be able to reuse that special base that we have in there? Would we have that?
The vented base.
Maybe.
Because I know the floor you're gonna design is gonna be that floating floor, and that's the same type of base you would use.
You would use that, yeah, it's a
I forget what
vented,
that is.
vented base, super heavy duty vented base.
So that's where we started, we need to approve something for,
Design.
I want to take a look at the condition first, then we'll meet, I suggest we meet in 2 weeks. Make a final decision as much as we can with moving forward with, or not, the design of the flooring, then we have the bid documents created, we'll go out to bid and it'll be ready for next summer to be installed. So I think we need to keep that process moving. That's really our biggest issue right now, whether, and it's, like I said, the decision could be, it looks okay, or we want to move forward with making a replacement. So that's really the big the big item. Then after that, then it's just a matter of looking at having our numbers reconciled with finance and looking, at the final balance that's left over after these little projects are done.
Yeah, there's a couple parallel items where we'd have to certainly reconcile, and we need to do that regardless. I've accounted for, I've encumbered this proposal as a potential issue. We have the flooring as a potential issue. I've already encumbered all like the miscellaneous lighting and stuff as well. And it's a live document, so when I've updated, in the hand railings, I put in 20,000 for hand railings. With all that said, I'm showing about 215,000 as the bottom line now, as a live number for that. But I think the one thing that we have to keep in mind is that the time from approval for them to prepare documents for Kerry to get it out to bid, get bids back and vet and sign contracts, we don't necessarily have a whole lot of time in order to get it for next summer. It seems like a long ways away, but by the time we get to that, by the time we finish documents, we're probably talking January 1st before we go out to advertise. That won't take a long time, a couple of weeks. By the time Kerry vets it out, we bring this committee, approve it, do the change order. We want to have them queued up for the summer before they get their work assigned for the summer.
So that's a quick update on the solar panels, all installed, all wired, supposedly going to be going live this week. They're supposed to be cutting them over to the main panels. They're waiting for the roofer actually to make a penetration for them so they can finish the final connections.
Well, we lost Joe Banks, but I wanted to discuss with him the benches. If anybody is aware of those giant benches on the first floor.
The benches.
Yeah, so open house, this is what the bench looks like, cordoned off.
Oh, you have to
With
show me
parents
that.
walking by
You have to
saying,
show me
oh,
that.
already? Like, look at this, brand new school. Phil says that it is not that it was kids like jumping on it, it's literally like kids sitting on it when they get off the bus in the
Yeah,
morning.
I mean, it's right on the video, kids just sitting there and slowly.
It's literally falling. There's no support, there's no brackets, that I could see. There's nothing underneath
Well,
it.
there's brackets.
Not this one.
There wasn't a center one, right? Is that what
There's
the
no
problem
center
was?
bracket on this.
No. Let me go. There's metal brackets that support it.
Where?
I was opposed to it to begin with. And when you sit towards the end of it, there needs to be more support, either dead center or on the outside edge.
This one
Because
doesn't
it-
appear to have a center bracket. There's some that do.
No, I understand that. And you're exactly right. They only have metal brackets coming off the wall.
And it's particle board.
Yes.
How is this supposed to
It's
last?
laminated wood, it's laminated oak over particle.
Particle board, crappy particle board. So using it for the purpose intended,
No.
sitting on a bench,
Yeah.
and the bench is
You're
falling
looking at me
apart.
like it's my fault.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I can't, that's why I wish he was still
I didn't design it, I
here.
didn't like it from the beginning. I didn't even want him there.
That's, so, and I went to every single one of them to look at the other ones. There are smaller ones.
Yes.
There is one that has a center support
The
in
one near
it.
the auditorium is gonna break
Chuck, you
also.
can help us with this.
I'm gonna be there Wednesday when we look at the floor. I'm gonna take a look at those. I wanna get up
Look at
underneath and
all-
look at those, because if you have a long span, if they're only
This one's
supported.
huge.
Yeah, that's a long span,
The
so
one near
you
the
might have two
auditorium is the
supports
same-
in there
It will be the same way eventually.
for
All
that,
right,
so.
well, you're not off the hook. I got
Maybe we
one
can
for
compare
you.
it. Phil, we can
The
compare
stair
it.
going up? I know.
That's disgusting.
That was my question also. That should
We
not have
can't
broken
get,
off.
but we can't get this a piece, replacement piece for
Yes,
that?
we need that
That
replaced.
looks
That was
disgusting.
part
Our
of one of our
focal point of the downstairs by the media center, there is a
That
piece,
was
what is that,
part-
electrical tape?
It was part of one of our discussions that should not have broken off or come off. That's been off for months. Months.
I'm sorry. Seriously?
I saw that a while ago.
Yeah, months.
Main stair, the center
And
stair.
Phil, while we got you,
Materials.
the,
Too bad Joe Banks left.
right, that's why he left. We talked about this months and months ago, the science storage room, the keys so that they could lock the chemicals away. Have those teachers yet been given those keys? Because the person wrote in the survey that they didn't have the
What keys
keys.
don't they have?
Daglia, the one in between for
The
the
prep,
prep rooms.
Yeah.
They can't lock those doors.
Their key is not,
It's a
It does not-
separate
It's a
key.
different key.
And I mentioned.
I believe it was made that way
this.
so they can, if they were to put chemicals or anything in it, they can lock them up. The room in between the science
but it's
rooms.
supposed to be the same as their door.
It apparently isn't, because I'm sure he would have tried that by now.
Come by, we'll walk up to
Yeah,
Dave's
yeah,
room.
it's supposed to, yeah, that should be the
But
same.
he has not
as
gotten
their
it,
door.
just,
Who's responsible for that repair?
Well, that should be a warranty issue, actually. That thing should never have broken off there,
I agree, yeah.
ever.
Those are my
That's been
observations.
there
That's
for
all.
months.
Have they been in touch with one?
And Chuck, when we check out the bench, maybe we can compare it to the one outside the gym?
Oh, definitely,
So
yeah.
we can-
It's gonna be expanded, I mean,
If it's built
That
the same
one's
way,
the
then we're
biggest
just waiting
one.
for that one to break too.
That's
but
the
let's look at
biggest.
all of them, and if we're
Yeah.
gonna do a repair.
Those are
let's
the
do
two long ones, and there's one by the
I mean-
music wing too.
If that's plywood, and, your maximum span for that type of, if it's only support on the edges, and I'm estimating, I can do the numbers, it's probably 5-6 feet.
Yeah, it's not only span, but depth.
Correct, because
You know what I
when
mean?
you're sitting on that edge, that's in the middle,
Yeah.
it's.
He thinks it's sitting on the edge of that thing's gonna break.
Yeah, it doesn't take a,
I said it when they were.
me or
putting
Lou
it in.
sitting on there to make it move, it's,
I put us both in there.
See, but we had
Say
to
what I thought he said he went to.
it's me and you, Lou, me and Lou.
I can't believe you went to.
How is this stuff gonna last? When is the next time something like this is gonna be done to the school? How are these things gonna last when we're in year 1, year 2?
agree.
And it's just
Absolutely
crap.
correct.
My thought would be to just take them down and maybe just do a normal seat. Because you're never gonna be able to fix something like that, especially being particle board.
Just do an independent
Never,
bench
ever,
itself.
ever.
Bench.
I mean, the only way to fix those is to add vertical supports.
Or if you.
And real wood?
Vertical supports underneath them in whatever you want to use is gonna
A lot more support.
make.
The simple support will easily support that.
Well, then
It's not
maybe we
a
can
lot of
save
weight.
the other ones from having that same issue.
Well, let's
by
look
putting
at
more
all, as I
support.
say, let's look at all of them and whatever repair we do, let's do
It
for all
doesn't
of
look
those.
aesthetic.
Oh, they won't look that bad, there's a vertical.
All right.
It would be vertical.
Um,
They should have just boxed them.
Gary, is this where we bring up other issues, or is there gonna be a moment in the meeting for that?
Well, moving forward, trying to move forward with the issues. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So it's been brought to my attention that the height of the fence that is on the exterior of the turf fields is, well, number one, higher than I had recalled our conversation being. I specifically recall a detailed conversation about the top of the diamonds of the metal screen being below the top rail. Didn't happen, not so much of an issue. But what I'm being told is that the height of the fence and the rail is positioned such that the majority of the spectators cannot see the field. It is at eye level for anyone that's around 5 foot high, which happens to be a lot of people that are watching it, and based on the topography of the field, in the absence of bleachers, it makes viewing it very difficult. So I would be interested in knowing, number one, why the fence was set at 5 feet. What's done is done, I guess that can't be changed, but just for my own edification, I'd like to know why that occurred. And two, if we can have a real conversation about removing that screen, cutting the poles, dropping the top rail, and putting it back at the appropriate 4 foot high level, which is, I thought, where the conversation started 2 years ago.
You're talking about on one side or?
To me, it's, the game side field would be the most significant, but I think it would be appropriate to do it on both of the long sides of the fields.
And I am looking at pricing, Joe, waiting for Eagle Fence to get back. He just got, with respect to the knuckles on the top, I talked to him about that. And the rep was like, well, no, we wouldn't, they're saying they would install that like we discussed, where the top rail's just above the knuckle. So one recommendation he had is, you see in outfields now, they have the yellow protection, like, it's like a corrugated protection. They have a black one that'll blend in. It'd actually probably be better, it's smoother, it's probably, what, 4-inch diameter?
It's a beehive catch.
Yeah.
But if you look at what we had
Oh,
talked
yeah,
about,
okay. Well,
if you look at what we had talked about, we specifically went over the
that's worse.
fence.
They love
and
it under
the-
there.
And
That
the
is not a
fencing
good
not
spot
going
for us.
above.
Oh, that was
the
our recommendation fully, I've seen it
That's what we
installed that way,
approved.
and we can just, I mean, you can
That's
just
what we
recommend
approved.
install it that way.
I mean, that's what we approved.
That's what I forwarded to DTC, for sure. I know we
Okay,
discussed that,
so,
yeah.
so what happens when something like this occurs? What do we do about it? We just say we didn't get what we forwarded to DTC, or do we just say it is what it is? Where do we
I
go?
don't say it is what it is, but I forwarded it to them now. I have to look at what was, you know, in the contract documents, because that's what they're going to install. Now, if, I'll have to check it, but if that was in fact incorporated, then they need to correct that, it's on them.
Well, I'd like to know that. And what about the height? How did the height end up getting to where it is?
I can't speak to the height, I honestly don't recall conversations on the height. I don't know if you guys have discussed 4 foot versus 5 foot, I'm sure you did, but I can't comment on that for the height. I
I
don't know why.
apologize, I had to step out.
Fence height for athletic field, the fence height being a 5 foot versus 4 foot fence.
I think that there's also, I'm not sure what the issue is, but I think that there's also an OSCG requirement for reimbursement ahead of that.
They won't reimburse 4 foot, I know that.
I'm sorry, one more time, please?
The Office of School Construction Grants, the one that's underwriting a significant part of this project, they will typically not reimburse for a fence that's under 5 feet, a chain link fence that's under 5 feet.
Can you show us that statute? Because.
Yeah.
That is correct, I know
It is
that for a
correct.
fact, that's a fact, they will not reimburse 4 foot fence. I know that for a fact.
We've had that.
That's in their policy, the list of ineligible.
Well, this fence was gonna be 4 foot until Phil did cartwheels to make it to 5.
Yeah.
So why was it not an issue when we were talking about a 4 foot fence 2 years ago, and now
Well, is it?
every other field
Well-
fence is 4 foot high. I've never seen another 5 foot fence yet.
I mean, that's the policy now. None of this work is reimbursable though, right? Am I understanding that?
I mean, if we're gonna go to 4 foot, it's a moot point at this point. If we correct it and change it, it's a moot point. Well, why it wasn't 4 foot, that's probably part of the reason, but not to say that's.
I'm just thinking the YMCA out in Milford, they have like a 4 foot fence and they have mound, they don't have bleachers either, but they have a mound of dirt that people sit on the grass. But I think if you stand there, I think that's 4 feet, but that's not a school, that's,
Ours is 5 foot.
yeah. No, I know the difference, yeah, there's, for most people, it's eye level.
Yeah, you can see over it.
Yeah,
But, I mean, you go to all the soccer games and all the lacrosse games, I mean, what are you hearing?
same thing. Yep, if they go right up against it, they can't see. If they go back, they kind of see through it. Or they sit on the one bleacher that's there, that's usually pretty crowded.
Okay. Joe, I don't know if you saw the pictures of that broken,
I just came back to see it, yeah.
not that one.
No.
Oh,
bench.
yeah,
The
you need
bench.
more pictures, Joe, we got you.
Broken
Oh,
bench.
right.
This just needs to be replaced.
We want the
12 feet
benches,
by 7.
we want the benches looked at because the supports don't seem to be sufficient. That bench, just from kids sitting on it, fell apart. It started to, apparently, one side of it started to sag, and then that finishing piece is what is off. That's why you see that, looks like it's chewed up over there. So that one doesn't seem to have any center support whatsoever, and I looked at some of the other ones. Some do have brackets, some don't, so that's certainly not gonna be something that's gonna have longevity.
Right. So I know that the way that we had designed these were with the racks brackets, which are more or less guaranteed to hold these, whether or not these were installed with correct spacing or not. I mean, I can see the sag in there.
There's nothing in the center though, do you see that? Shouldn't there
Okay,
be?
so, yeah.
It could be cantilevered off the
It's
wall, I have to look up
a
underneath.
rack bracket is basically like an L, and
It's
it
a-
would just be at the
It's a big
underside
piece
of it.
steel that goes like.
No, I,
You're not supposed to be
but
able
would
to
you
see
see
it.
it from underneath? You
No.
wouldn't see it?
Well,
Okay, because I went
you would see-
underneath.
You would see
would
it from
see it.
underneath, yeah.
A piece,
I-
a T piece underneath.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I looked under.
That's why I look Wednesday, I'm gonna.
You'd have to-
get underneath
Okay, I didn't
the
do
bench.
that.
I'm gonna get on the floor and look underneath the bench.
Yeah,
I did my best.
okay, so,
You could keep those.
all right.
We have rack brackets on a similar size bench at our house, and it's,
That's the
The kids
biggest,
dance on it.
that's the biggest of the
Doesn't move
benches,
anywhere.
but there's
And
a
it's part
couple
of the
others that
board.
are quite lengthy. There's a few that are small. I physically saw a bracket under a small one, but
Yeah.
if we can just review all of those, because there's no way those are gonna last, not to mention that they're particle board, so that's so great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Anything else?
But we will have some money left over, everything going well, and then we talk about what else we're doing, track, bleachers, things inside the school. But we will have the time soon to
It looks that way.
talk about that. Okay.
Yep. We're meeting Wednesday morning. Hopefully, as many people as possible can make it
7:45.
so we can see that. And then I'd like to meet in 2 weeks to keep the process moving. That would be October 15th.
Meet every 2
Should
weeks
have a closeout.
till we get it done.
I'm fine with that because this process hasn't been working the way it is, so.
But we're not gonna wait to meet every 2 weeks if there's no new information. I mean, I'm not gonna
Well,
come here every 2
I'd rather
weeks.
have, with no disrespect to our leaders, because they've done a good job, I'd rather have them come here every 2 weeks and tell us that nothing's happened, nothing happened. Well, I hear you, neither do I, but we gotta keep this thing moving.
That's
We're-
All right, currently, we have no regular schedule of posted meetings. Consequently, we're relegated to special meetings, which
That's what I was gonna
are a real big problem because you can't add things.
Folks, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is post these meetings so
As by-
we can have regular meetings. So that if things come up, we can add it to the agenda.
Then you can just
It's
cancel.
hard to do this
Yeah.
trying to advance.
So doing a bi-weekly schedule
So-
and canceling the ones that we don't
Yes.
have. That works.
And I can't even ask for a vote to do that. So I,
Sorry,
Why, we're all-
next,
Why?
huh?
You can't ask what?
I can't ask the committee to vote on that because it's not on the agenda.
Oh, I see.
That's the problem with special
Oh,
meetings.
right.
So next,
So make sure
in
we'll put it
2
out for
weeks,
next week, right?
it'll be a special meeting.
Makes
I'll
sense.
put it on the agenda, we'll approve that and.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it on my
Moving
calendar,
forward, we'll have a regular meeting schedule. We can cancel
Right, but
any that
at
we
least there'll be a
want.
regular cadence.
But, yeah.
Okay.
And Michelle, Dave's defense just shows a little urgency too, that our leaders start a little fire under their butt and move along. Just so we get it closed out.
You know?
We don't wanna rush it, but we also
We're gonna sit here,
keep
we're
the
gonna sit here
ball
every 2
rolling,
weeks and say,
yeah.
I don't know places.
We're not gonna have a meeting if we don't have anything.
Yeah.
You know, we'll cancel.
Yeah, if you know there's no
Yeah,
action, then you can cancel.
okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
See you about next week.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.